unveiling gamblers' psychological traps for effective investing. Today, I'll take you into the glitzy world of casinos to explore the secrets of professional gamblers, those who seem to win every game. What tricks do they hold? Are you curious? But let me be clear, my goal isn't to promote gambling. Instead, by analyzing the psychological strategies below, we'll learn how to stay sharp in all aspects of life, making smarter decisions. Whether you're fascinated by psychology or want to improve your decision-making in work and life, this content will offer valuable insights. Imagine pushing open the heavy doors of a casino. You're greeted by a dazzling scene. The lively sounds of slot machines flashing with captivating lights, cheers erupting from the roulette table, crowds buzzing around blackjack tables. The air is thick with tension and excitement. It feels like a parallel universe, detached from reality, where everyone dreams of striking it rich. Yet, in this seemingly opportunity-filled place, very few actually walk away wealthy in the long run. According to the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, over 90% of players leave the casino at a loss. Even more striking, a study on gambling addicts found that about 85% admitted to chasing losses, continuing to gamble to recover money they've lost. So, what allows a select few to stand firm in this brutal game of chance while most end up empty-handed? The answer lies deep in human nature and how we think. Before we dive deeper, don't forget to follow the channel for more money truths and tips to achieve financial freedom fast. Welcome to the Think Billion X channel. In this content, we'll dissect the psychological traps that players often fall into, how professional gamblers avoid these pitfalls, and the unique psychological tactics they use to consistently beat the house. More importantly, we'll learn how to apply these insights to everyday life to sharpen our decision-making skills. First, let's analyze the psychological traps players commonly encounter. These traps aren't exclusive to casinos. They appear everywhere in daily life. Understanding how they work will help us see ourselves more clearly and avoid mistakes in critical decisions. 1. The illusion of optimism. Have you ever heard of beginner's luck? Many first-time casino goers believe they're destined to be lucky. This phenomenon, in psychology, is called the illusion of optimism. A study by psychologist Weinstein showed that students overestimated their ability to complete a thesis by about 30% compared to reality. This overconfidence is even more pronounced in casinos. Another study found that 68% of lawyers in civil lawsuits believe their side would win, despite the actual win rate being 50%. In a casino, this excessive confidence can lead to heavy losses. Picture this. You step into a casino, see people cheering as they win, and think, if they can win, so can I. Before you know it, you're broke. That's the danger of the illusion of optimism. 2. The sunk cost fallacy. Imagine you've lost $1,000. What do? Do you bet again to recover your loss? If so, congratulations. You've fallen into the trap of the sunk cost fallacy. This mistake is like an invisible whirlpool, dragging players deeper into the cycle of chance. Money lost is like water spilled. You can't get it back. We should make new decisions rationally, not obsess over past losses. Nobel-winning economist Richard Thaler conducted a fascinating experiment. He gave volunteers 2 lottery tickets of different values, one free, one purchased, then asked them to give up one. Most chose to keep the ticket they bought, even though its odds of winning were lower. This is the sunk cost fallacy. In everyday life, consider buying a movie ticket but finding the film boring halfway through. Do you stay or leave? Many stay because they paid for the ticket, but leaving to do something enjoyable is the smarter choice. 3. The gambler's fallacy. Have you noticed the big screens in casinos displaying past results? They're not there by accident. People tend to predict future outcomes based on past random results, a phenomenon called the gambler's fallacy. For example, if a roulette wheel lands on red 5 times in a row, you might think black is more likely next. But each spin is independent. Past results don't affect the next. The odds stay the same. 4. The illusion of control. Players often believe they can influence or control game outcomes. Many place faith in objects or rituals they think bring luck. For instance, some wear red on New Year's because they believe it attracts fortune, or they pick lottery tickets with lucky numbers. Psychologist Ellen Langer conducted an intriguing experiment. She had volunteers play a card game against someone who appeared nervous. When the opponent seemed anxious, players felt more confident in winning and were willing to bet bigger. This shows people overestimate their control over outcomes. Another study asked participants to press or not press a button, followed by a pre-recorded sound. Many believed pressing the button triggered the sound, even though it was random. This illusion of control boosts players' confidence, encouraging larger bets. In life, it can lead us to overestimate our influence over big issues, like believing we're destined for a grand mission in a group. 5. Selective memory. Humans tend to remember the thrill of winning while forgetting or downplaying the disappointment of losing. This selective memory distorts players' perceptions of their performance, causing them to overestimate their win frequency and earnings. Psychologist Daniel Kahneman, in his book Thinking Fast and Slow, explained that our brain operates in 2 systems. System 1, fast, automatic thinking, and System 2, slow, deliberate thinking. Selective memory is a product of System 1, filtering out unpleasant memories and keeping joyful ones. For example, a gambler might boast about winning a big $2,000 hand last week, but forget losing $4,000 to get there. In daily life, we might recall only the highlights of a vacation, ignoring the frustrations. While selective memory helps maintain a positive mood, it can lead to flawed decisions. Once again, let me emphasize, this content aims to discuss psychological principles and their application to decision-making, not to encourage gambling. Gambling can have severe financial and psychological consequences. We strongly advise avoiding gambling and applying these insights only to meaningful life decisions. So, how do professional gamblers escape these traps and profit long-term from casinos? Let's explore their psychological strategies. 1. Stay rational. Professional gamblers are like economists. They understand probability and statistics, unaffected by short-term wins or losses. Even after a losing streak, they remain calm, knowing that sticking to a sound strategy will pay off. The MIT Blackjack team is a prime example. In the 1990s, this group of MIT students used precise mathematical models to earn millions. Their success wasn't luck, but a deep understanding of probability and patience. In blackjack, pros use a basic strategy based on optimal probability calculations. Even after consecutive losses, they stick to it, knowing it maximizes long-term profits. This rational thinking is invaluable not just in casinos, but in investing and business. For instance, Wall Street's quantitative traders use complex mathematical models to analyze markets and make decisions, unshaken by short-term fluctuations. 2. Strict money management. Ever heard of gamblers going bankrupt? Pros never let that happen. They set clear budgets for each session and stick to them, win or lose. For example, they might limit daily losses to 1% of their total capital. Once that limit is hit, they stop and leave, no matter what. This acts like insurance. Legendary gambler Johnny Chan wrote in his memoir that he never brings credit cards to casinos, only cash with a carefully calculated budget. This strict self-control is key to his long-term profits. This strategy applies to daily life, too. Setting loss limits and investing controls risk effectively. In shopping, sticking to a budget prevents overspending. Warren Buffett once said, "Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful." This reflects smart money management, thinking against the crowd to control risk. 3. Control emotions. Casinos are emotional roller coasters, but you'll never see pros lose control. Whether they win big or lose heavily, they stay calm. This emotional mastery is one of their strongest weapons. In emotional intelligence, psychologist Daniel Goleman argued that EQ often matters more than IQ for success. Pros exemplify high emotional intelligence. The famous marshmallow test showed that children who could resist eating a marshmallow for 15 minutes to get a second one later achieved greater success in academics and careers. Similarly, in casinos, players who control emotions make rational decisions, avoiding impulsive mistakes. For example, after a losing streak, amateurs might feel frustrated and bet bigger to recover, leading to bigger losses. Pros calmly analyze and stick to their strategy. This emotional control is vital in life. 2. Whether facing work stress or resolving conflicts, staying composed leads to better decisions. 4. Never stop learning. Pros never stop studying. They research game rules, analyze data, and even develop custom algorithms to boost their odds. In the 1960s, a math professor developed card counting for blackjack, giving players an edge over the house in certain situations. Though casinos now counter this, it shows the power of learning and innovation. Poker legend Doyle Brunson not only mastered various poker styles, but also studied psychology to read opponents better. He once said, "Poker is a game about people, not just cards." In daily life, continuous learning is crucial. Updating skills and knowledge in work or personal life keeps you competitive. Author Isaac Asimov said, "Self-education, I firmly believe, is the only kind of education there is." Lifelong learning adapts us to a fast-changing world, keeping our minds sharp and preventing cognitive lag. Studies show learning new skills strengthens neural connections, enhancing cognition. 5. Know the house edge. Pros understand the casino always has an edge, so they choose games with the smallest house advantage. For example, in roulette, betting on a single number has a 1/35th payout but a 1/37th actual probability, giving the house an edge. Pros avoid high-risk, low-reward bets, opting for games like blackjack, where basic strategy can reduce the house edge to about 0.5%. Some even use card counting, though banned in many casinos, to gain an advantage. Poker pro Daniel Negreanu said, "Don't just look at your cards, look at the whole table." This reflects a holistic mindset. In life, this translates to choosing investments with manageable risks and stable returns, or, in business negotiations, understanding both sides' strengths and weaknesses for a stronger strategy. You might think, "I don't gamble, so this doesn't apply to me." But these psychological insights and strategies are highly relevant to daily life. In the stock market, people fall into similar traps. Overconfidence can make you overestimate your stock picking skills, while the sunk cost fallacy stops you from cutting losses. Imagine buying a stock that starts dropping. You might think, "I've invested too much to sell now," and wait. That's a classic sunk cost mistake. The right move, like a pro gambler, is to calmly analyze the current situation. If the outlook is poor, cut your losses decisively. Investor Peter Lynch said, "Knowing why you bought a stock is more important than knowing what you bought." This emphasizes rational analysis. Money management strategies also apply to stocks. Setting clear loss limits and sticking to disciplined investing are traits of successful investors. Warren Buffett's rule of never lose money is a prime example. Continuous learning is critical too. Markets evolve, and only by staying updated and understanding trends can you maintain an edge. Charlie Munger said, "All the smart people I've met across fields learn something every day." Recognizing market volatility, like the casino's edge, is key. Diversifying investments and controlling risk are essential. That's why financial advisors recommend diversified portfolios. In work, avoiding emotional decisions improves decision quality. For example, in project management, deciding whether to continue a struggling project requires caution against the sunk cost fallacy. Instead of clinging to past investments, analyze the current state and future prospects rationally. Management guru Peter Drucker said, "Management is doing things right. Leadership is doing the right things." This underscores the need for accurate decisions. Emotional control, like that of pro gamblers, is vital in workplaces. When facing stress, conflicts, or negotiations, staying calm leads to better outcomes. Former GE CEO Jack Welch said, "Face reality, then move past it." A continuous learning mindset is also crucial at work. In a fast-changing world, acquiring new skills keeps you competitive. LinkedIn founder Reid Hoffman stressed, "Your greatest asset is your ability to learn lifelong." Recognizing your strengths and weaknesses, like pros understanding the house edge, helps craft effective work strategies. Drucker noted, "The task of management is to make people's strengths effective and their weaknesses irrelevant." Even in personal life, these principles apply. Don't stay in an unhappy relationship just because you've invested time. That's the sunk cost fallacy. Learn to analyze rationally, like a pro. Psychologist John Gottman found that successful relationships need at least a 5-to-1 ratio of positive to negative interactions, akin to calculating odds for a healthy dynamic. In daily spending, adopt pros money management. Set budgets and stick to them to avoid wasteful spending. Finance expert Dave Ramsey's envelope budgeting mirrors gamblers' cash-only approach. Emotional control helps in relationships, too. Staying calm during conflicts fosters healthier connections. As Goleman wrote in Emotional Intelligence, 90% of life success comes from emotional intelligence. Continuous learning enriches personal life, boosting confidence and quality of life. As philosopher Socrates said, "Know thyself, the key to wisdom and happiness." In casinos or life, staying sharp and self-disciplined is the true secret to winning. One of life's greatest discoveries is that we can change our external circumstances by shifting our inner mindset. I hope today's insights help you stay rational amid challenges, making wiser decisions. To wrap up, an old casino saying goes, "Casinos don't need windows or clocks because they don't want you to know the time." In life, don't forget to stay awake and take control of your destiny. Thank you for tuning in. If you found this valuable, share it with friends and family. Follow me for more money secrets. Goodbye and see you next time.